Yes, it's a good question. Very, very good question. So because it's pulse taking, not everybody can do pulse taking. It's very, 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 very. It's a specialist art. Yeah, yeah. So it's just same as calligraphy, for example. Somebody who's like an artist. It's an artistry thing. So if I take your pulse, I'll tell you. How do you know what I'm telling you is correct or not? That's the problem. That's what I was telling you earlier. So you can't be certain that the person, and there's very few people, because that's the thing I struggle with, because I was in England I studied with, I went to lots of countries, I made frequent trips to Pakistan, and I wasted my money. I went to see these Hakims and they teach me pulse, and they say, oh yeah, where in England do you live? Have a cup of tea. 3 months of my time wasted. A loss of income, everything. And I found that they didn't know anything. Right? So the answer is correct. You cannot verify that they know what they're talking about. And I asked one of my teachers, he says very few people actually know. And they're hidden. Yeah? So that's why I'm trying to teach you other techniques. Because we don't have to rely just on pulse. Pulse is just one aspect of it. I already showed you about observing people, by looking at people. You can see it yourself. You can ask certain questions, and from there you can work out the person's temperament. You don't have to rely on pulse. Pulse is just one aspect of it. Unless you're like a guru or something, like done it for 60 years, and you can just look at the pulse. Even then, you should never rely on one technique. That's being lazy. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, as a person walks in the room, I already know what's wrong with him, pretty much. After a certain time, yeah, it's not fancy. It's nothing sort of. If you're any of you a businessman, if you own a shop, for example, somebody owns a shop. If the person comes in, he knows which lady is going to buy the clothes, which lady is wasting his time. Does he not know that? How does he know? He's got no specialist. There's no connection with some spiritual connection. He knows it just by experience. And it's a skill that you can learn. And some shopkeepers are more clever than others. Some shopkeepers know exactly how to deal with a particular woman, a particular man. They know it. They're the better ones. Yeah. And you ask them, how do you do it? They just say, no, I don't know. I just know it. It's just with time. Same with this. After seeing hundreds and hundreds of people coming into my clinic, as soon as they walk in and the way they sit, I know, oh, okay, this was wrong. This was wrong with them. And sometimes they come and they don't tell me, especially men. Men come in and they have some male problems, but they won't tell me. They're too embarrassed or too shy to tell me. So I already know what's wrong with them, but I have to wait for them to finish their story. Yeah. And sometimes I direct them to other side. The answer to the question is yes, with pulse you cannot, but you use many other techniques. And with iridology, you can see what I'm seeing. That's why it's very popular. Yeah, that's why, because I can show people, look, I'm looking at this. They can see it themselves, and you can learn it. You can learn it. So actually, nobody has a cure for cancer. Nobody has a cure. In Western medicine, what is that? Chemotherapy. They use chemotherapy. They don't have any real treatment for cancer. Nobody does. Okay, and there are different types of cancers. Yeah, so my license in England, I have a license, insurance license. I can't claim to cure cancer. It's illegal. I'll be stripped. I will have trouble. I can't make the claim. However, choose my words correctly, there are certain cancers that can be helped with using very basic remedies which you have at home. Yeah, certain types of cancers, like bladder cancer, very easy to treat. Yeah, and this growing outside everywhere in Pakistan. Okay, it's like, for example, there's one herb which I get from Pakistan. It freezes any cancer. It freezes it. What they call it? They call it Drake. Yeah.
Oh, that's common.
Very common. Very common. So what that does is extremely cold. So it freezes any. It doesn't kill the cancer, but it freezes the cancer, which is very important because some cancers are fast moving. like spleen cancer, throat cancer, and lung cancer. Bladder is different. It's because bladder walls are very thick, so it takes longer to go. So herbs are extremely effective. I'm not advising the next herb I'm telling you. Please don't get this wrong. But marijuana is very effective for many cancer conditions, diabetes, cancer, that type of thing. And you, not to smoke, I'm not saying nobody should be smoking it, it's very bad for you. But it's for eating it, consuming it. It's not something the Unanis are saying that, it's the Western medicine. You go and, any of you in medical profession? Okay, so you can have access to medical research. Go to Google. In Google, they'll give you information where you can go to medical records. They've proven that cannabis can cure certain cancers, kill certain cancers. Sorry, I didn't understand. I couldn't hear you.
Are certain temperaments
More prone to? Yeah, they're more prone. Yeah, more prone to certain types of diseases. Correct. Fevers and that type of thing. Malaria is different. Malaria is an infectious disease. Malaria, anybody can get malaria. It doesn't have to be any temperament.
My question was that are you more prone to an infectious disease if you're of a certain kind of temperament?
Yes, like blood temperaments. Dhammi ones, or the even the choleric ones, which they're more prone to certain conditions. Correct. But malaria is not invented by modern. It's quinine is taken from the Native Americans. The Native American people in America gave this remedy, quinine, a herb called quinine. They don't have any cure for it. Malaria. The natives, those which they call them savages, they were more advanced than these people. They gave them the remedy for malaria. You mean like, so first of all, the medicine, they found that there are certain herbs, for example, let's say a herb called asgandha. Asgandha, if you heard of asgandha, in English they call it ashwagandha. It's from Hindi word. Ash means horse in Sanskrit, and gandha means sweat. Horse is sweat. Yeah, it's extremely important herb, for example. So, but that grown in another country, it won't have the same potency. It has to be grown in this country, India, Pakistan, to have those properties. Yeah, and ideally in the wild. So if you harvest it, it's not the same thing. Yeah, that's the first thing. Second thing is how it's prepared. Yeah. So in other words, first of all, you can get different grades of it. You can go to Akbari Mandi here and get different grades of it. So that's the thing. And when it's cut, it's been cut at a certain time. Back in the day, certain fruits were in certain season. Yeah. So eating foods out of season will make you ill. Yeah. Same with eating the herbs in the right time. And back in the day, we used to tell people to eat the herb at a certain time based on the lunar calendar. Yeah, those type of things. So, and then the potency of the herb is because, for example, neem. Neem. Everybody know neem? Yeah, neem grows here a lot as well. So neem is very good for skin conditions. It purifies the blood. Extremely. In India, they worship it. They have to have outside every house. They say it's a door to heaven. In Hindu scriptures. So it's extremely beneficial. But the point is so for example, if you have boils, etc., you need to have like 1 gram of neem, 3 times a day, if you have a lot of boils. But if you have less, it's not going to have any effect. So when you said earlier about you get these medicine from Hakims, they don't get better. Yes, because they put nothing in their medicines. Nothing. There's nothing in there. It's just rubbish. Even in let's do something simple like, chilies, mirch. They put color in it. Haldi, there's color in haldi. That's not real haldi at all. That's why you don't get better. You have to get the real haldi, the plant, grind it and make it yourself. And hopefully organic one. So it has an important basis of that. Okay, so mental disorders that is a very big topic, okay? But a lot of mental disorders are actually to do with the gut. Your digestive system. Yeah, I don't have the time to go into it, but there has been modern research done There's a lady who wrote a book called The GAPS Diet, GAPS, and she came to the same conclusion. This medicines come that you need to fix the gut, because when you have this word, you have the word gut feeling. I woke into there's something funny about that man, something strange about it. I don't like that guy. Yeah, that's because they say that's the other brain. So and that's formed in the embryo. So it has to be. So we fix the gut for a lot of mental emotion, like ADH. Mental disorders. What else? What other mental disorders like bipolar? Bipolar maybe not so, but schizophrenia. All this. Now these conditions to do with hyperactivity. My children are very hyper. I got this just before I came. This child was really hyperactive, and his mother was going really crazy. So I just said, change these couple of things in your diet. Use chicken stock. The bones from chicken. You boil them and you get the water and you take that and it's fine.
ADHD will be other.
Yeah, same thing. But not all. Some people they need help. They need some other. But what they would do is they will suppress you. Medicines are suppressive, but we don't suppress. We try to help the body heal itself. He's local.
And network of authentic.
Yeah. He's got naturopaths. Yeah.
So I had this issue in 2012 when I finished my masters. I think it's because it's relevant. I'll talk about it now.
Yeah.
So when I was in the UK and I finished my masters, basically my nervous system was shattering, and the doctors had given up on me. And my father's a surgeon himself, and I went as far as Harley Street, Kulsum Nawaz B-team, and I paid £3,500, and that was all my saving at the time as a student. And they did a full body MRI scan, they did full blood test, and the doctor said that we don't know what's wrong with you. Because we don't know what's wrong with you, we can't fix you. So what I decided to do was study medicine myself, because I had no choice. The doctors had given up on me, and my organs were going, and my nervous system was shattered. And alhamdulillah, I cured myself in 2 months. 2 months. So I studied functional medicine, which is a new form of medicine. Ultra Mind Solutions is a key book, and I used this machine called Zapper, which is using frequencies, which I showed Hakim Sahib. And what I was suffering from was heavy metal poisoning. So when I was doing my masters, I was producing biodiesel, so biofuel from waste, non-edible crops and waste oils. And what had happened was I was using this catalyst. It was a zeolite. Zeolites have silicon aluminium in them, and the aluminium leached through my skins, and I inhaled it, and it clogged into my different parts of my organs, and it was shattering my system. So people know that heavy metal poisoning can lead to death. So I was very close to death. And so I cured myself, and I vowed that if Allah helped me cure myself, then I'd dedicate my life to helping others. So then that's when I opened this global naturopath network, because when the allopathic doctors had given up on me, my only door were the naturopaths. So I went to different acupuncturists, I went to different practitioners, the hijama, etc. And then what happened was they all became my friend. So we ended up opening a group called Global Naturopath Network, and that's where I met Hakim Sahib. Actually, I met Hakim Sahib at his workshop through a mutual friend called Abid. So anyway, the group is going strong. But then when I moved to Pakistan, I realized that there's a need here also, because I realized that the problem here is even worse than in the West, because I know what it feels like to be in a situation when the doctors give up on you and you have nowhere to go. And I've written my book, it's on Amazon, because that was another way of me giving my knowledge back and sharing it. It's called The Ultimate Bioreactor. So in Pakistan now, what I'm trying to do is we made amazing progress in the last 4 months. So we've got people doing Reiki, acupuncture I wasn't too impressed with until 2 weeks ago. Actually, last week I think we found somebody who is mashallah very good. You have other practices that are happening. There's Inqilab Center in defense, DHA, Dr. Masuma, Dr. Majid, they're doing an amazing job. Now find authentic, like you said, people, and because I have this existing network of specialists, I can get their advice on telling me whether these people are authentic or not. So, like, I took Hakim Sahib with me to this place in Defence, Healing Angels, and he said to me straight away he's authentic. So now I'm going to go meet Dr. Shen and put him on board. So this is what we're working on.
He's Korean. And he speaks Urdu very well.
And this is the thing, वो जितनी कुर्बानी देते हैं ना, 11 साल से यहाँ पे हैं. ठीक है, हमारे लोग इंग्लैंड भागने चाह रहे हैं और अमेरिका लंदन जाने चाह रहे हैं. And this is the thing, it's a test of iman, it's a test of faith. You know, and they have taken Allah as Razak, we haven't. Because the thing is, the amount of confidence he had and the amount of passion he had about his work, dedication. We are running after, you know, we've seen it now in the West, running after dollars and pounds and everything. But the thing is, the answer lies inside of you. And we were both impressed by him. And yeah, so inshallah, I'm looking to get him on board.
How are these two medicines related, functional medicine and Unani medicine?
They're not. Actually, there will be a link. Actually, there is. I lie. There is. So, for example, let me give you an example. One of the key things to help people with mental health illnesses is something known as magnesium citrate. Okay, that's what I use to get the heavy metal out of my body. Okay, now magnesium citrate can be used as a powder. But then when we were just discussing with Hakim Sahib, when he arrived and I mentioned magnesium, he knew the natural things to take rather than the magnesium citrate formula. So there is a connection, but he will prescribe it through a herb. I will give you the powder.
Both these things are
Yeah. So that's all it is. So that's what we're working on. Organic foods is a huge area which I'm looking to work on. So the actual project is called Bio Valley. So why have I called it Bio Valley is because I believe that going back to Fitra, you know, like you talked about what your actual temperament is at birth. When you take things back to Fitra, natural disposition, that is when your energy is the highest. When you see kids, the energies are so high. They're energetic and they're running it. And then as you age, your energy seems to taper. But it's those that keep loving what they're doing and do what they love, the energy remains high. So, and this is the first module of my other project called Academy of Champions, where I teach personal development, leadership development, and business development using history, science, philosophy, and spirituality. So I've combined that, and I've packaged something that has made West, although they're successful, they're empty from within. Is that true enough to say, Hakim Sahib? And actually, Tamus, I've asked you to mention Sheikh Noor's statement last time.
You did that.
Yeah, you were going to mention something about Pakistan when...
I think I've talked a lot.
Yeah, alright, it's okay. So basically, the thing is, when we live in Pakistan, we have a negative mindset. But Hakim Sahib was mentioning that when Sheikh Noor came, he said that all he sees is Noori, all he sees is light in Pakistan.
Yeah, there is. You have to see the frequencies. You know, you have to look at frequencies, you have to look at people, you have to see beyond what's apparent. Yeah. You know what they say, all that glitters is not always gold. Yeah, sometimes something looks like gold but it's not gold. Okay, for example, we have certain standards before we get. I'm a member of the General Naturopathic Council, the GNC, a number of different boards. So you have to pass certain exams, certain standards that they check on you. Randomly they check on you, ask you certain questions all the time. Every year they see what are you doing. Otherwise they remove you. Yeah. So yeah, we can do something similar, maybe at yours or something.
See, the thing is, what I've realized from my experience is that there should be things in place to regulate, but then regulation should not sort of strangle freedom. Because this is the issue in the West now. This is the funny thing. West is so regulated that things have become so monotonous, like machines now.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the thing, that exactly. So what we want to do is, एक आज़ादी जो है ना, आज़ादी की खास frequency है. Azadi, the freedom's frequency is just before full taqwa, God consciousness. So that is, the work by Dr. David Hawkins, was it? Power versus Force. So in his model, he showed that God consciousness, ultimate consciousness is 1000, just below that, 900 is freedom. This is what the West have done. They've lost that. And
Yeah.
in pursuit,
The thing is, that's an interesting point, though. I mean, regulations, I understand what you're saying, because to avoid charlatans. But the issue is that, like, for example, let's take the example of TCM, Chinese medicine. Back in the day, the people who came up with all these information, the original knowledge, they're what you call them shamans. Have you heard of shamans? Yeah, they were shamans. The original medicine was they lived in caves, because they felt coming to the city they got polluted. And even if you look at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when they were born, they were sent, the Quraysh would send their children outside the cities. That wasn't a city, that would be like a village nowadays. But they would send them outside because they felt the air was pure, the frequencies were pure. And the same with this medicine, they would, and then you'd see what would happen was the women from the court, the princesses, the Chinese princesses, they would travel all the way to see these people who could heal them. But then obviously they couldn't have that, so they told them to come in, and they standardized it, and they lost some of the essence.
On that note, actually, that's a very important point. To get a hold of naturopaths, these true, genuine naturopaths, is a struggle. They're so pure and they want to preserve themselves and so keep in their aura that अब तो मूसा भी पहले कहे थे बहुत मुश्किल से किसी को ला सके हैं यूनानी पे Tibb medicine पे. So the thing is, to build that bridge, I found it's a challenge, because for them, and they get burnt out very easily. And I, as a person who's bridging this, I make sure that they're actually, because they're gems, in my eyes they're gems. Doing this in a day and age where there's no actual systems in place, where the systems were, just decimated, and to be going against the status quo. So this is why it's important to preserve them and respect them and give them the space that they desire. But no, we do need to regulate. So I'd love to speak more about that, actually. This needs to be something, but it needs to be something that is flexible, I think.
Power, there's no power in the medicines. There's no power in the medicines. अगर आपका जो underlying question ये है ना कि medicine में power है या नहीं, medicine में power नहीं है ultimately. It's a difficult concept to you to understand. The power is in the belief Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to cure you. ठीक है ना? For example, the Prophet ﷺ says that black seed, kalwanji, is a cure for all diseases. I mean, black seed, what's black seed? Kuch bhi nahi hai. What is it really? Think about it. It's just a seed. But is your belief, ultimately your belief ke baat hai na. Yeah, like those Sahabi that went into the ocean. Remember those Sahabi, the Lama Iqbal was about, they went into the ocean. Because the head Sahabi went, and Pichas Paki Sahabi followed him, and they went into it. And the Arabs was frightened of water. जो अरब थे ना उस वक्त के हिजाजी जो थे ना वो डरते थे पानी से, लेकिन they went into it. Tashta Barazulmat में दुराती घोड़े हमने, Lama Iqbal says, yeah. So they went into it because they had belief. Yeah. So Allah is to believe. When I prepare my medicines, I am in state of wudu, or I'm prepared. I have a certain mindset. He's talking about frequencies with my mindset. Then that's what happens. So.